got this Tamiya Thundershot. Is it Thundershot? Yes, Tamiya Thundershot. Out of the old Chavads, as we affectionately calling it down here, for around £10. I've already started to film this once before and I didn't like how I was doing it, so I'm just going to restart it. The body was all cracked. I've just hot melted glue this, all the cracks. Hopefully I've done that already on the channel, you'll know what I mean by that. But all the little splinters and cracks and stuff, I've just put dabs of hot melt glue. I've even cut out some perspex to reinforce it and hot melt it in places. We're doing this on a budget, we're not going to get too far. Now, my goal with this is how much or how little is it going to cost to get this old girl back on the road. Let's bring you in and show you what this model's like. Right, straight from the off you can see it did come with a few parts that are missing. Ignore that. The body, as you can see, it's okay, it doesn't look too bad. It will do. May need some gears placing in it. I'm not sure. I don't know, it feels like there could be. Right. The front end, as you can see, is proper torn and twisted apart. I believe, yeah, the wishbone's not attached. We're going to need some plastic pieces already, or we can bodge this just to see how, if we can get the thing moving. That might be our first line of attack. But this is an original Thundershot, as you can tell, because of the type of drive shafts it has. The recent fact that I've only just learnt about, the originals have this, I don't know, it's got like a ring in the middle around the drive shaft. The more modern ones don't. Look at that, even the old dog legs move apart. Cool, blimey. Right. First things first we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this old mechanical speed controller. It serves no purpose for me. I have no love lost with this. This wasn't my original toy as a child or anything like that. I paid £10 in the old Chavad. And I just want to have a bit of fun getting this thing back on the road. Right, that's the offending article out the way. It's important when you do remove old things, these tiny little screws that hold the on-off switch in, keep this, because you never know, you might meet someone one day that wants to have an authentic old school Tamiya jobby, and you know you've got this that then you can give to them. Or even better still, there might be someone on eBay that could do something like that. Always keep these bits and try and keep all the little screws, like I say, because they're sometimes the harder bits to track down. You can't just always just go down the hobby store and get bits like that. I know they do have good selections, but they're very hard to come by sometimes, the right ones. Right, the next offending article is this little number. I'm not going to use the old original aerial, so that can go. Right, as you can see, the aerial's out, or the aerial antenna holder's out. I've taken the motor out because it made access more plausible. What we need to do is see if we've got a lemon or not. Let's find a battery and try and hotwire the bugger and make sure she spins. Well, I've got a battery. Some of you may cringe, but we only need to see if she's a good un or a dead un. That noise shows that she's okay. Didn't sound like it spun very fast. There we go. So that's good. We'll keep that. We haven't got to replace that. When I'm doing these things, I often use old aerosol lids to put some bits in, the screws, and you know, so you don't lose it. Because unfortunately, things do have a habit of rolling round, and once they go over, they're on the floor and they could jump anywhere. Right, on to the next bit. Right, I've just taken off the wheel, and straight away the drive system's cracked, if you get what I mean. This little drive plate, it goes into the back of the wheel, and that's what keeps it locked. I mean, you could probably change the wheels and put a hex piece on it and use a completely different set of wheels, but I want to try and keep as much of it as original as possible. Don't want to be chucking loads of parts at it, so we're going to simply glue that back together and hope for the best. Right, that's the other wheel off. As you can see, that's what it should look like. I've just taken the other wheel off. As you can see, that's what it should look like, but that's what it was underneath. Both wheels have suffered over the years. For all intentions, we will continue to use these wheels just to get the model going. But by the looks of it, the old glue's so old, we'll get them off and we'll be able to replace them. I won't do that yet, like I say. The main thing is, let's get this rolling and up and going. Let's continue stripping down, finding some more bits that we need to replace or repair. We haven't got too far when I've already noticed this has got its original, I suppose, nylon washer, or bearing rather, and this side's got a lovely steel one. You know, I bring that in? Yep, got a lovely steel one. Now, this isn't a huge issue. I have a box full of old, crappy RCs that I got for next to nothing, so we might even be able to find some proper ball racers that will fit that. But again, that would be when putting it back together. Right then, tubers, we've got the rear diff off and the suspension, but I'm going to take this apart a bit further. I can see there's nothing physically wrong with the majority of that, but we're going to go a bit further because just inside there is the old spur gear, and it looks like an old mouse has been chewing it up. I don't know if you can get that from in there, but let's strip this down a bit further and let's show you the actual issue with it. Right, tubers, a little tip: if you are going to take on a restoration project like this, albeit whatever sort of finish you're after, I mean, I'm just after this thing working, but some of you might be taking these apart, not even familiar with them. You can find online manuals. Tamiya are pretty good, but what I find, and you might not be able to see it, but when you do take things apart, if you're not going to be putting it back together straight away, it's just rebuild it without that suspension arm in it, because when it comes to putting it all back together, you might forget which way around those washers go and stuff. So it was always good to do that. Not only that, these nuts and bolts stay together, keep these bits together, the whole thing's together. I can put it up there, you can fall down, and it's still all together. When you have all these little bits and pieces floating around and you knock it over, they get spread and you can lose them on the floor very easily. So that's a very handy tip for you. Equally, along the way, tubers, you can take photos. So we take a photo of that screws in there, you're taking that, so chink, photo, remove, chink, next photo, and you're going to have a step-by-step guide to how it came apart. So you simply just look at the pictures backwards. Right, so as you can see, I've got the gearbox differential housing open. Alright. That one's not too bad. That looks alright. That actually is a diff, I expect. Yep. Now this is the offending article that I noticed through the drive housing, through the where the motor goes on the other one. The hole in there. I noticed this spur. Oh boy, was I right to remove it. Look at that. It's been chewed desperately. Now the sad thing is that is a spare diff. So we're not going to be able to get much further, so we're going to order that. Well, before we do go on eBay, you can't just keep running indoors and going, oh, I want to know how much this bit is, I need to replace that little bit. Let's get a list formed. Let's continue stripping this front and seeing what else we can do and what we need to replace or don't need to replace. Alright. This is a classic example of your Tamiya. There goes the prop shaft. Yep, some good old-fashioned wood screws. Not originals anymore. Right, straight from the off, the front diff housing's broke. Now we've got under there, we can see what's going on. And you can see this. But look, that should be insecure. That should be like a loop plug sticking out. The same with that one at the front. Right then guys, we've got it apart as much as we can. The chassis this is. As you can see, there is cracks there. I will clean that as best I can out and put some super glue on that. That might not sound the right thing to do, but don't forget, I'm not trying to give this a full restoration. I'm trying to just get to revive this so I can have a play, you know, bash with it gently. You know, once this is repaired, for me, this would just go in the attic and be forgotten about. Right then, tubers, as you can see, that's all in good nick. All the drivers and that, really good. It just got like, I'm probably gonna, I don't think these should be dry gears. I know some gears are meant to be dry, but evidently there's some form of grease of some description in there that's had a chance to go dry. I mean, you've got to remember this kit's probably 25 years old now, so when I put this back together in a minute, I'll just have a quick look what Tamiya suggests and I'll put it back together dry if need be, otherwise it'll be greasy. I will put some grease in there, modern grease. Right then tubes, that brings us to the end of part 1. I should let you know in the beginning of part 2 the outcome of this front diff, whether it's greased or not greased. But the list of goodies we've got to buy is we've got to get rid of this mechanical speed controller. We're going to replace that with an electronic one. We have got to purchase one of these because it's broken, or make some form of repair because the front wishbone on the left will not stay in place. If we repair that, we cannot, if we're lucky enough to repair that, we'll save a few pennies, but we will have to replace that side of the front diff housing, and it will save me from having to just glue that crack up and make good of that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed part 1. I've enjoyed stripping that apart. It's been on the shelf for too long now, and I'm going to go and have a quick look on Google, and I'll see you guys next time.